My name's Jon, and I get to serve on the worship team and the creative film team. So my story starts really as a young child. I grew up in and out of the hospital a lot. I was very sick as a kid. When I was about, I want to say maybe 10 or so, I remember I was laying on the couch, and I got up and I started walking over to my mom. And just out of nowhere, everything went black. And when I woke up, I was on the floor, and my parents were standing over me, just freaking out. I don't know what happened. I just remember everything fading away for a moment. And so we went to the hospital, and once they did a whole bunch of scans, they found out that I had some serious heart issues. I always had a mild heart arrhythmia, which is where your heart beats off beat. It's inconsistent. But for whatever reason, what happened that day made my heart arrhythmia severe. It went from mild to severe. And when they did scans to see what was going on, they found out that I had an extra valve stemming off of an artery in my heart. And that was pumping blood from my heart into my lungs in a way that it wasn't supposed to be going. So they gave us a few different options of what we could do. One option was a non-surgical option of corking it somehow. Another option was doing full-on open heart surgery. And then the third option, which is the one we took, was do nothing about it. And so they said, since we don't really know which option is the best, just wait a year and monitor it, see what happens, come back. And so a year goes by, and we don't go back. And I think we all kind of forgot about it, but in the back of my mind, I was always scared, is this gonna be the last time my heart beats? Because my heart arrhythmia was very severe at this point. I remember there were points in time where my heart would stop beating for seconds at a time, and I would be feeling my pulse and freaking out. And it was painful at times, but by the grace of God, it kept going. And so maybe 6-7 years after the initial event happened, we went back to the doctors to get some scans done and try to evaluate it, see what we could possibly do to fix this issue. And we're walking in, and I was terrified because I wanted to know I was fine, I was safe, but I didn't want to have open heart surgery. And we finally sit down inside of the doctor's office, and they bring in all the equipment to do the scans, and the technician is doing the scan, looking at the monitor, and then leaves the room. And when they came back, they had another technician with them. That technician did the scan, looked at the monitor, and left the room. And then I remember they came back, and now the doctor's with them, they have the other technicians. I didn't know why, they were all talking amongst themselves. And after a handful of people, 10 people or so, had come into the room and had talked, and they've left and came back, we're freaking out. We don't know what's going on. We think that, man, something must be really bad, that all these people are walking in and walking out. And the doctor finally turns to us and says, "We've done this scan several times now, and there's no sign that there was anything ever there. It has to be a miracle." He was saying if by any chance that the heart could have healed itself, that this problem just could have disappeared, there still would have been signs. There still would have been, scarred tissue, or, some still imperfections in the areas that this thing would have been there, And he said, "We have the previous scans, we're looking at them, and it's there. And we're doing the scan now, and it's not." I remember the day before, my heart was still sporadic. It still wouldn't beat properly. Ever since that day, my heart hasn't skipped a beat. I have no explanation other than to say that God healed me. The doctors called it a miracle. It's so hard to believe that sometimes I ask myself, maybe I should go get my heart checked again, just to make sure, But then I, check my heartbeat and it's beating the way it never beat before. And it's just a constant reminder that God did something in my life, that he's continuing to do something in my life, that he has a purpose for my life. I know that there's a reason why my heart beats. I know that with every beat, there's a purpose. There's a reason why. Every time that I don't feel like God's moving in my life, every time that I don't feel like he's going to come through and do the next miracle that I'm praying for, I always just check my heart. Literally, metaphorically, sure, spiritually, sure, but physically, literally, I check my heart because it is a constant beating reminder. It used to not be constant, but now it is. And now it's a reminder that God exists and that God's moving and that God still does miracles. My name's Jon, and I still believe in miracles.